say what you want, but like, I don't dislike Chattanooga at all. In fact, I like it quite a bit. My life is a lot better here now than it was in New York before I left. Except, look, I loved working at Compound. That was the last thing there for me. So, like, leaving New York, I mean, it's a funny thing. I had kind of been talking about leaving anyway. Then you lose your last connection to a place. You're like, yeah, not only is it going to be tough paying the rent without that income from Compound, which I wasn't overpaid either. Any idiot who says like, oh, he's confronting the reality of his life and having to, no, I live in reality. I know the reality all the time. When I found out that there were charges in this case with, it ended up being second-degree harassment, which is a ticket, basically a misdemeanor. It turns into a ticket eventually, but I mean, it's not even assault. I've heard so many things that weren't true about that the whole time. Felon. I've been called a felon. This is a felony. A felon. He's a felon. Then he backs off that. The people who say that back off that. A fucking felon. He's on the run. He's on the run. What? He turned himself in? Really? Yes. The moment I found out that was real, the moment I found out I wasn't being trolled by somebody saying that there were charges or whatever, I came back to New York. I surrendered to the detectives in the 42nd precinct, I think, or the 40th, 42nd, maybe. I think it was 42nd. And I went inside. I was processed. I was handcuffed, put into a van, a paddy wagon, driven downtown, further processed. I had a mugshot, and I was taken into a cell eventually after they took my drawstring out of my sweatpants, which I was told to wear, which I kind of wish I hadn't worn sweatpants. I mean, it didn't feel like it wasn't. People have a different idea of what relaxed clothing is. For me, it's not sweatpants, but this was what I was told to wear. The laces from my shoes, all that shit. Put into a cell. I was there all fucking day. It's like 6 hours, 5 or 6 hours. Eventually brought out for court. Somebody said something to a judge. Judge said something to them. And I left. And I left. And they gave me a piece of paper. And on that piece of paper, there was a date to come back. And when that date came up, you better believe I was in court. And nothing happened in that date. So I went 1,300 miles to go to court. 1,300 miles back. For nothing. A continuance. They gave me another piece of paper when I left. There was another date on it. And I came back on that date. Guess what? Nothing happened. Another continuance. And I came back and came back and came back and came back. A total of about 5 times. And that went on for a fucking year. A year. With the prosecutor wanting to give me jail time. We requested the full medical records. At that time, right after that, it was time served they offered me instead of jail time. I don't know what happened. I know that when we requested that the full medical record be subpoenaed and brought to bear in this case, the offer became no jail time. They wanted me to do 6 months. And that was changed to what? Time served. And, all the other shit that would have gone along with the jail sentence too. Like, anger management and what's the other thing? Oh, yeah, the order of protection. Now, the order of protection was what they called a full and final order of protection. Okay? That means it's 2 years long. 2 years. So I wrapped up everything in court, including my anger management course, which I graduated, passed with flying colors, and in record time. Because, I'm all about self-improvement. And that's when the order of protection began. So it's another year of the order of protection after this December. It's another year from now. So anybody who looks at that order of protection knows that a show between myself and the victim of this crime would be impossible. So welcome to trolling. What can I tell you? I've said it now. Unfortunately, I'm saying it on Rumble. And since I'm not wearing a cape and don't look super weird, you can count on it. It won't be clipped. There can be no show. Nor will I discuss the possibility of a show at any point. So I hope that covers that.